I do offer options. I'll give you some really advanced stuff, but I also offer everything for beginners. So whatever your level is, you'll be able to focus on and get into the depth that you want. All right, everybody. Again, I'm Andrea, and we'll get started here. Child's pose, knees are wide, big toes to touch. You can have blocks and a strap off to the side, like I said. As you're in this position, think of your hips sitting back towards your heels. Your knees can be as wide as you like. If you want to start getting into those hip joints right away, really widen the knees out outside of your mat edges. And then think of your hands just reaching forward, foreheads on the mat, and start to settle in here with some breath. I'm going to really concentrate on breath today with you guys when we're doing these deep stretches and finding balance. We're going to really concentrate on how breath is going to affect the muscles opening and also how breath can affect your balance. So all those things are going to be introduced through this next 60-minute session. If you begin to massage your forehead a little bit, maybe you massage that third eye center, that space of intuition. Start to open your mind here to some depth and flexibility. And as you start to breathe, every time you inhale, think of your belly expanding. Let the breath go all the way deep down into the stomach. And every time you exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Feel the ribs press in, press onto your lungs, and express that air out. We're going to go through with intention in our stretch, which means we want intention in our breath. So as you're breathing in, you think of oxygen coming in through to the bloodstream, and it just starts going into all those muscles and fascia as we begin to open and make space. Take 2 more deep breaths in your child's pose. Take them at your pace, deep in through the nose with the lips sealed, filling the belly. Opening the lips on your exhales, releasing, letting go. We let go of our day, we let go of our evening, whatever time zone you're in. Allow yourself to be here and now and relax. On your next inhale, start to walk yourself up. Bring yourself forward, but try and keep the knees wide as we move into a frog pose. So think of your shoulders being over the wrists. And then flip the feet so they're like frog feet. So the arch of your feet are down, the knees are wide. The knees are in alignment with the hips here. So we don't want to be way up here. We want to make sure our hips are in alignment. And then you're holding yourself up. If you can go lower, feel free to go down to the forearms. But think of the knees spreading apart as you start to open those inner thighs and hip joints. Keeping the feet flexed up. With the arch of your foot down, it's going to protect the knees. This is another space you could have a blanket if you need it under your knees. We're going to hold some of these poses longer than others, depending on what we're working on. Again, notice if you're holding tension, we tend to clench our jaw or our face or our eyes. I want you to let go of all of that and breathe. We don't want to move tension from the hips up to the face. We want to remove tension completely out of the body. Every time you take a deep inhale, bring it through the nose, bring the oxygen through. And every time you take an exhale, maybe you can slide the knees a little wider. Even if it's just a millimeter here or a millimeter there, every little bit counts. You should slowly feel the body opening, awakening, becoming flexible and malleable. We're going to be here for 3 more breaths. These breaths are deep and long. We're letting go of any clenching in the jaw, any scrunching of the eyes, release. Any tension in the shoulders, if you're hunching your shoulders up to your ears, bring them down. Find your space. Feel what feels good for you. And make sure you don't go too far. We want uncomfortable, not painful. We're going to slowly start to come up if you're on your forearms. The best way to do this is kind of slide the knees forward, bring your toes and sit yourself back. Bring the knees slowly in. and together. Good. As you're here, tuck your toes under, sit your hips back to your heels. Give yourself a little rest here. We're going to start to give the toes a little stretch. So you can stay here if that feels good to you, stretching the toes. If you want to feel the full depth of the stretch, go ahead and sit on up. Feel yourself sitting on your heels. If this is too much, you can put a pillow or a block right under the glutes on the back of your thighs. But as you sit here, I want you to think tall and long, head coming to the ceiling, shoulders drop down from the ears, hands can be at heart center. You can close your eyes here. Our first thought is going toward the discomfort in our feet. Make your thought be your breath. When you're feeling tension, breathe through. This is where flexibility and openings begin to happen. This is where you take yourself to your next level. The more discomfort you feel, I want you to take deeper breaths. Feel the body releasing. Tension melts. Take one more deep breath in here. Open mouth, exhale. Bring yourself to all fours. Untuck the toes gently and start to tap the tops of your feet on your mat. Feel that little release. The blood flows to the tips of the toes. Nice for your circulation in your feet. We're going to do an opposite stretch. Keep the tops of the feet here. Sit your hips to your heels. So you can stay here. This is a nice stretch on the ankles and the tops of the feet. If you want more, lean back. The next level is to bring your knees up. You might hear a snap, crackle, pop. It feels good. It's just releasing that air in the joint spaces. We don't do this stretch often, so if you get a couple cracks, it's okay. If you want to find your balance here, bring maybe one hand, then the other to your knees. Shoulders down and back and balance. You're just here for 4, 3, 2. Bring your hands down if they're up. Slowly bring the knees down on the 1. Bring yourself forward to all fours. Now lift your legs. Roll out each ankle gently. Feel the blood flowing. Feel the release. You should feel that little rush of warmth going down to your toes and through the ankles. So good for circulation. Keeping the toes tucked as we were before. Go ahead and sit back up. If you want to find balance this time, bring your knees up and find balance. You could put blocks here if you're working on sitting up nice and tall. But digging your toe mounds in, you can bring your hands to heart center. Find one thing to concentrate on. Something in front of you. Squeeze your thighs together. Squeeze the navel to spine. Breathing here, you're finding balance. We're keeping the spine nice and long. Press your palms together. Breath should be nice and deep. Concentrating on breath and one thing in front of you that's not moving. Good, we're going to slowly come down. If your hands are up, bring them down. Bring your knees down and come to all fours. Untuck the toes, tap the tops of the feet once more. While we're in this position, let's get a little cat-cow. I want to get the spine some movement. So make sure your shoulders are over the ankle or over the wrists. They're over the elbows. Palms are nice and wide. Try not to fall into the wrists or the back of the palms. Think of putting a little pressure between the thumb and the forefinger. Find a nice neutral spine, gazes down to start. Hips over knees, tops of the feet are down. We're moving to cow pose. Inhale, drop the belly down, gaze flows up. Tailbone is pointing to the sky, shoulders pull down and back away from the ears. Exhale, arch the spine, press your mat away. Tuck the tailbone, arch that spine. Inhale, gaze goes up, tailbone points, looking up. Exhale, arch, press away. Continue on with this. Anytime your gaze is going up and the belly is dropping down, we're inhaling. Anytime you're arching, exhale, release the air. Good. Continue at your pace. Maybe it's a little slower, maybe it's a little faster. You can even go left to right, getting the lateral stretching of the body. So just get that spine awakened, get some movement in the body. We're releasing and making space. Think of your body opening. Do one more of each and then meet me in your neutral spine. Once you're in your neutral spine, your gaze stays down. Working through thread the needle with the shoulders. Inhale the left arm up to the sky. Gaze follows if it's okay on the neck. Maybe you do a couple circles one way, getting the joint space of the shoulder open, and then the other way. Come back to center. Inhale, reach high. And exhale, thread the needle. That hand is going to go palm down, or excuse me, palm up. Left shoulder to the mat, left ear to the mat. And just let yourself get a little stretch on that deltoid. Finding opening. If you want a little more, start to roll your chest onto your bicep while that arm stays flat. The right arm can come forward, or it can come and wrap around the back for a small bind. Wherever you are, the more pressure you're putting on that long, straight left arm, the more you roll yourself on your chest on your arm, the deeper the stretch you're going to feel through your deltoid. We're elongating muscles today, building flexibility, and also building strength, protecting you when you're working out, walking, running, all the things. 2 more breaths in this position. Really feel that shoulder opener. If your right arm's wrapped behind you, bring it back onto the right shoulder. On your inhale, lift yourself up. Left arm reaches for the sky. And exhale, bring it down. Moving into the other side, inhale, right arm high. Same thing here. Maybe you do a few circles one way. And then the other. Making space in the joints. Getting the synovial fluid moving. Reach high one more time. And exhale, thread the needle. Right arm goes behind the left wrist. Straighten the arm. Right cheek down or forehead down. You can start to roll your chest onto your bicep as that right arm stays straight. The left arm can be long, or you can find that bind again. Notice the tension you might be holding and where you're holding it. Also, when we are stretching, we tend to feel tension more in some areas than the other, or maybe on one side more than the other. Take note of what's coming up for you as you're stretching. Are there emotions, happiness, sadness, anger? And breathe through those. Allow yourself to let go today. 2 more breaths here. See how deep you can press onto that arm. Really open the delt. Good. Left arm's going to come back under the left shoulder to press you up. Inhale, right arm goes back high. And exhale to all fours. Coming up, tuck the toes. We're going to move into a down dog. Bring your hands just an inch forward or so. And then press yourself up and back, down dog. First of the day. Start pedaling out the heels, one heel at a time. Feel the back of the legs begin to open. Let your head hang between the biceps. And think of pressing your chest and belly towards your thighs. Press away through your palms. And remember to keep pressure off the wrists. Try and continue to press through between your thumb and your first finger. That's going to take pressure off anybody with wrist problems and prevent you from getting wrist problems. Press, press, press. Hips are pressing high. Feel that opening in the back of the legs. And then take both heels, lift them high to the sky. On your exhale, melt both heels down. The closer you can get the heels, the more of a stretch you're going to feel as you continue to press your chest toward your thighs. Do that again. Inhale, both heels high. Exhale, melt both down to the mat. Good. Feel the opening. Feel the release. Good. On your next inhale, gaze goes forward and just slowly walk your feet to meet your hands at the top of your mat. Feet are staying hips width distance apart. Find a ragdoll pose, forward fold. Have a slight bend in the knees. That's going to allow traction in the spine. The traction will allow the spine to separate. Now you want to let your neck hang. We tend to try and look forward. Just let it hang. You're not missing anything in front of you. Let your arms hang or grab opposite elbows. That'll give you a little more traction on that spine. You can waver left to right, taking weight back and forth in each foot. As the head hangs heavy, think of your spine opening and separating. We are always upright, standing, putting pressure on the spine. This is a nice opposition. Clasp your hands behind the low back if you want to, and get a nice little shoulder opener. Let them fall over the back of the head. Keep your knees bent here for now. Feel that shoulder opening. Release both hands and let the arms dangle. Slowly start to straighten just the right leg as the left leg stays bent. You could have blocks here if you want, if this is too deep for you. If not, let yourself hang. Feel that nice opener outside the back of your right leg, all the way through the side, which is the iliotibial band. Like I said, we're going to get into the iliacus, the iliacus. We're going from the ilium, which is the crest of your hip, down through where the tibia meets the femur. And you're opening that muscle and that tendon that runs through there. It gets super tight. Moving into the other side, now bend the right leg, straighten the left. Feel the other side open. Do you notice more tightness on one side than the other? Again, feel free to have your blocks here. Feel that nice opener. Breathe. Are you holding tension in your face as we're doing this? Allow your face to relax. Good. Bend both knees. Let both arms hang. And we're going to slowly roll up at my count of 4. Just nice and slow, like you're rolling through honey. For 4. Arms are dangling long, heads dangling for 3. Slowly for 2. Let the head be the last thing to come up. On the 1, roll the shoulders up toward the ears, down and back. Do that again, up, down, and back. Good. Finding yourself in a mountain pose. Mountain pose, you can have your feet separated if it's more comfortable on the hips, or big toes to touch. Shoulders are melting down and back. Pull your navel into your spine. Palms are by the sides facing forward. Thumbs rolled back towards the back of the room as the pinkies roll forward. Good, that's going to open the shoulders. Think of your chin tucking slightly to your chest. As you tuck the tailbone under, really ignite your abdominal muscles. This can be a very active pose. Think of the kneecaps lifting toward the sky as you ignite your quads. Feel how active we are in this pose. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment and breathe. As you're in this space, I want you to think of what's coming up for you in your practice. When you're opening these muscles, when you're breathing, what are you holding on to? What can we let go of? Take another deep breath through the nose. Open your mouth, exhale, let go. We're going to work on a little bit of standing balance here. Moving into tree pose. This is a pose that we can take from very beginner all the way to advanced and seeing what you want to do with it. So taking your left leg's going to take the weight, right knee's going to bend. You can take and kickstand that foot to the inner shin, or you can move up to the inner thigh. Now, wherever you are, if you need a kickstand, you can always just kickstand your toes so they're touching while you're pressing on your ankle. Just don't be pressing into the knee joint. We don't want to put pressure on the joints. But I do want you to take wherever your foot is and press into that other muscle and let your quad ignite and press together and feel the tension in the body rise as you're building strength and stability here. If this is not enough for you and you want a nice little ankle stretch, you can take the top of your foot and put it in the hip crease of the left leg. Wherever you are, think of your knee pressing to the back of the room. Keep that nice stable core. Lift the quad of the left standing leg. Hands can be at heart center. Find your balance here. If you want a little more, bring your arms up. You can even try and close your eyes and really find balance in your space. If you fall out here, it's okay to laugh at it, move forward. This is judgment-free zone. We're our own worst enemies of judgment when it comes to trying to make things in our lives change and moving into the next level. We're very judgmental of how long it takes or how we do it. So breathe here. Really find stability. Ignite all those muscles for 4, 3, 2. Bring that leg down on the 1. Release. Good. Now these standing balancing positions are going to be the ones that you're really going to notice which side has more balance than the other. Taking that right foot, find the stability, lift the right kneecap, press your foot into your shin or go up to the upper thigh. And remember, if your foot's sliding, press your foot in, ignite the quad, press together. That's why I don't want you on your knee joints. We don't want pressure on the joints. Think of this knee pressing to the back of the room. If you want more, take the top of the foot, put it in the right hip crease. This is where you're feeling that iliopsoas right here. So that psoas muscle comes down from the spine to the hips. And then you've got the iliacus, and that's all connecting. So if you press that knee back, you're really going to feel that open. So you can do the same thing. You can close your eyes. If you want more, you can try and balance on the ball of your foot. See what happens there. Feel free to challenge and breathe. I want you to continue with 4 more breaths here. I'll let you know when we're coming down. I want you to concentrate on this side. I'll keep my mouth shut for the next 3. Good. Slowly coming out, unwind, release down, and relax. Good. We are going to move into dancer's pose. So dancer's pose, your option is to grab a strap if you want, but I'll also give you options without straps. If you know dancer's pose, you know where we're going with this. This is a nice iliacus opener. So we're going to take our left hand out to the side, and our right hand, the right foot's going to take the weight. Right arm's going up. Kick the left heel back. So we're here. You're going to take your hand like your serving tray and just reach for the inside of that ankle. So your middle finger is going across that ankle joint. You can stay here, concentrate on one thing if that's where you want to be. If you want more, start to kick your foot into that hand. If you want even more, start to arch to the spine. And once you feel like you're where you want to be, you can start to topple forward. Concentrate on one thing, not moving. See where you can go with this pose. Breathe. Kick that ankle into your hand. Pull on the ankle at the same time. Build stability here. You're just here for 4. Try and go a little higher for 3, 2, come down on the 1, release and relax. Good, moving into the other side. This time, right hand comes out like a serving tray. I wanna make sure you're grabbing your ankle like that. So when you grab for it, think of the thumb being across the the front of the heel. So make sure that middle finger is going across that joint. This left arm's going up. Again, you can stay here, or you can just start to push in and see how far you can go. This is definitely my least balanced side today. So then you're pulling up. Good. Kick into that hand and breathe. Find the level you want to go to. Maybe you go a little deeper, toppling. for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. You should feel that all through the front of your thigh. Just kind of wiggle it out. See how we're feeling. Take a nice deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Release. Good. Moving onward and upward. Inhale, the arms go up high. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your feet back to hips width distance apart. Ragdoll pose. Good. Take your 2 peace fingers. So take peace fingers and grab for the insides of your big toes. Your knees are bent here. Let your head hang heavy. And then press your big toes into your peace fingers. Pull up on the big toes as your big toes press down, and feel a stretch in your back. You should feel all those back muscles opening and pulling. Pull, pull, pull. And release. Breathe. We're doing time under tension for some of this. That's going to get your stabilizer muscles strong. Stay right where you are. We're going to do that again. Pressing the big toes down. Trying to pull up with your peace fingers. Really pull. The elbows are bent. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And release. Good. As you're staying here, we're going to take gorilla pose, Padangusthasana. Take the palms and slide them under the balls of the feet. The toes are going to tickle the backs of the wrists. If this is too much, you can always just take your fingers under the toes and keep a bend for now. Find a layer that works for you. You can massage your palms and wrists a little bit. Maybe you go back and forth, forward and back. If you want a deeper stretch through your legs, begin to straighten the knees and pull your head towards your shins. Let the elbows bend if that's a space you can get to, so they're like gorilla arms, hence the name. So as you're here, feel that nice stretch to the shoulders and the back and the legs. All this building of flexibility. You're going to be here for a couple breaths. See how much deeper you can pull yourself. Maybe straighten the legs a little more. And begin to release. Good. Take your feet out to the edges of your mat. So they're about 45 degrees. And you're right to the outside edges of the mat. We're going to find a nice deep squat here. Sit your hips down. And then bring your hands in to heart center. If that's too much for you, no problem. You can put a block underneath and sit here, or a pillow. Or stay on the balls of your feet and find balance here is your other option. So find whatever works for you. Try and press the hands in towards heart center. This is a big hip opener. And then wobble left to right. Feel the synovial fluid coming through and opening up in the hip joints. Hips and shoulders are our biggest space we hold tension. So allowing ourselves to let go and breathe. Nice deep malasana squats are so good for opening the hips. We're going to make a big move up here. So on the next inhale, straighten up, come all the way up, feel that strength. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good, bring your feet to about hips width distance apart. Inhale the arms up. And exhale, forward fold. In your forward fold, same thing, now just bend the knees. And then come down to all fours. Once you're in all fours, go ahead and bring your hips down. And you're going to be in an up dog with thighs on the mat, so more of a seal pose. If this is too much, come down to a Sphinx pose. That's going to be a little less strain on the back, but you're still going to get those psoas muscles opened up here. So find what works for you. So you can be up on the hands, Press the tops of your feet into your mat and press away. Shoulders are down and back. Now you're going to feel that you're doing a back bend, but you also should be feeling that opening through the front of the hips. As you're opening through there, a lot of us think we can't do back bends because our spine keeps us and prevents us from bending, when actually it's tight hip flexors, which are the psoas and iliopsoas and so on. So when you can open those up, you'll notice your back bends will begin to open. Good, come back down, come through Sphinx. And then come and bring your head down to your mat. Bring your hands by your sides. Stay here for a moment. We're going to go a little further in that. Come back on up. We're going to go to either Sphinx Pose. You can start here. I want you to kick your right heel into your right glute. And then reach back with your right hand. Twist through. Maybe you get a couple snaps here. Crackle pop. Starting on the Sphinx Pose, so we're starting low. Keep that left hip pressing into the mat. The right arm is reaching back. You're pulling your heel towards your glute. Release. Come back through Sphinx in the center. Left heel clicks to left glute. Reach back, pull, and twist. Keep the right hip pressing down as you pull the left heel toward the glute. This is another space you're welcome for a strap. Good, come back through center. If you want to go a little deeper here, we're going to move up to the palms, seal pose. You can stay in Sphinx and do this again. We're going to reach back, kick the right heel to the glute, reach through and twist. When you're up this high, you should get a little deeper of a twist in the spine. If you want even more, press the heel toward the glute, take your hand to the top of your foot and twist. Release, come back through center. Twisting the other side, left heel to left glute, press and twist. Good, come back through center, come back down, bring your hands underneath the shoulders, let your forehead rest on the mat, elbows are bent, take a breath here, and exhale out. On your next inhale, press yourself back up. You can do Sphinx or this pose one more time. Really feel the stretch of the front body and come back down. Bring your hands up in front of you. Straighten the arms. This time, kick the right heel to the glute. And you're going to try and do a scorpion from the belly. So you can stay right here if you want, or start to try and get your foot towards the back, over the left leg. Try and keep your right shoulder reaching down, your right arm reaching down. You're just getting a nice scorpion pose. It's going to open up your iliopsoas. But we're also getting a nice twist in the spine. Come back through center. Same thing, keeping the arms pressed down. Left heel to glute. Scorpion pose. Bring that leg up. Try and get your foot down and around the other side of your right leg. Try and keep your chin and your arm down. Good, coming back down through center. While we're on our bellies, you can have a block nearby. With your block, you're just going to use it as a pillow. Some people need it, some people don't. Depends on the depth you get in the stretch. You can use anything, pillow, blanket, whatever. We're going to take our arms and tee them out to the side. So as you're teed up to the side, look both directions. Make sure the arms are exactly in alignment with your shoulder. Starting with the left arm, keep it long. Take your right arm, press it underneath the right shoulder. Left cheek is to the mat, And start to press yourself away while you keep the left palm down, left arm straight. You're gonna feel a shoulder stretch here. Now, as you do this, you might just go a little bit. You can put this block underneath your cheek here. What we're building for is flexibility to be able to continue. Now we're gonna take that scorpion leg like we did just now. We've stretched that out. You can bring it back. Keeping that left arm long. And over time, you're gonna build to flexibility and being able to come directly onto your back. Do this slowly. See how far you can go. Just don't strain your muscle or your shoulder girdle. So once you're here, your right arm can be on your belly. It can be trying to touch your left arm. Find what works. This is your flexibility all through that shoulder girdle. We're slowly building up to these big poses. We've done some little shoulder stretches here and there. Done some little twists and bends, getting you prepared to get into these big stretches that we're gonna hold for a moment. Remember to take note if you are clenching your jaw or your face. Breathe. Breathe in the good, exhale the bad that you don't need or want. Take 2 more deep breaths here. You should really feel that shoulder opening. Whether you're just slightly pushed up or all the way over, take yourself to the level that you're making change. Good. If you're on your back with your arms straight, slowly come back to center. We're going to meet on our bellies how we started. Tee the arms. This time the right arm is going to stay out long. Again, do a check. Make sure that that right arm is in alignment with the shoulder. We don't want it way up here and we don't want it way down here. We want it exactly in alignment. So when you gaze out, it's right there. Palm is down like you're high-fiving the floor. Left arm is under the left shoulder. Begin to press away. This is where you can put the block, so it's comfort for the neck. So again, you can bend the knees. If you want more, we're moving into that scorpion that we just did earlier, but with the arms staying straight, press. If you have more, continue onto your back. Just make sure that right arm is not moving. If the right arm's moving or sliding, go back to where you were. You want it to stay. That's the only thing we're concentrating on is that shoulder girdle. Once you're on your back, if you make it to that space, you can rest your left arm wherever is comfortable. You can straighten it back with the right. And breathe here. Let go of the tension. All breath goes in through the nose with the lips sealed. Exhaling, releasing through the mouth and letting go. Good. Find 2 more deep breaths here, nice and long and slow. Be present in the changes happening in your muscles and in the deep fascia. All your connective tissue is opening. Change is happening. When you're ready, you're going to slowly come back to the belly. Wherever you are, meet me there. If you've got a block or pillow, just remove that out of the way. And then rest your forehead. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and press yourself up and back. Give yourself a little stretch here. Again, you can always be in Sphinx Pose where you're on your forearms rather than your palms. Good. Come back to Sphinx and then press yourself back and up to all fours. Once you're in all fours, bring your hands slightly further in front of you. Tuck the toes, press the hips high, find your down dog. This is where we've been building up to our psoas. We've been opening them slowly for these big stretches. It's really going to get in there and open you up for the rest of your day or evening. Inhale your right leg high. If you need to, you can be on your left knee if this isn't comfortable. Once you're here, keep the leg straight but open the hip. You're going to feel a nice stretch to the hip flexor. Keep both palms down. You can bend if you want through the knee, but if you keep it straight and really reach up and back, you're going to really feel an opener. Try and keep your shoulders square to the mat. Big breath in. On the exhale, right foot goes to the outside of the right hand. We're in a runner's lunge, so both hands are on the inside of that right foot. Drop the back knee down. This is where you can have blocks if you want, and if you need anything under your knee, this would be a time to maybe double your mat over, because we're gonna have a little pressure on that back knee. Untuck the toes. You can stay here. If you want the blocks, you can always use your blocks and come to your forearms here. Or you can come all the way down to your forearms on the mat. When we're in this pose, a lot of us tend to want to be up here, arching through the spine and not getting the stretch. Make sure you're shifted forward. Notice my knee is over my ankle. What you want to think about is your pelvis melting toward the floor. Let gravity pull on you. That's going to really open that psoas and the iliacus. All those hip flexors on the left side right now, the leg that's straight back. So as you're here, breathe. Feel a nice opener. We are going to move on to an even deeper stretch if that's in your practice. If not, stay right here. This is a good stretch. So what we're going to do is kick your straight leg. You're going to kick that left heel toward the glute. If you want a strap here, you can. The knee that's bent, you're going to turn that way with your right hand and reach back for the left leg. Reach back for the left foot. So you could use a strap here if you want. Allow those hips to continue. The pelvis is continuing to melt down. The more you pull in with that heel, you're going to really feel that psoas muscle open. So maybe you were thinking, oh, those muscles aren't tight, they're not sore. Well, this is where you're going to feel it. And if you can't reach your foot, stay where we started or use a strap. But this is where we want to work towards being with all these flexibility yoga sessions. You can really start to get openings that you didn't think you could have. Repeating. Repetition in yoga, that's where you make your changes. Good, slowly release that foot. If you have it, bring your hands back through. And then we're gonna sit ourselves back slightly. The right leg is now gonna stretch. This is where you can use blocks if you need to. Make sure that right foot is in alignment with you, centered to the mat. So bring the right heel in slightly. Square the hips off, pull the right hip back. Tuck the back toes for stability. You can stay here. If you need a slight bend in the knee, that's completely fine. If you want a little more, fold forward. Just keep your hips in alignment. Pull the right hip back, left hip forward. Feel the stretch in the back of your hamstrings. Flexing the right toes here. Now, if you have a full split in your practice, this is a great space to go to it. If you want to work on a full split, start to slowly press yourself forward. You can keep your back toes tucked. If you have blocks, you can always put blocks underneath that back thigh, that psoas, and then slowly start to straighten a little at a time. What you want to make sure you're doing is keeping your hips in alignment though. And then if you want to untuck the back toes, you can. If you want to go all the way full split, find your space there. These are areas you slowly work into. You can move a little bit. You want to fold forward, flex the right front toes. Again, you can stay where we started, or you can be working on slowly opening into the splits. The more you work on it, you're slowly going to be able to build and build and build. If If you do these stretches daily or 4 or 5 times a week, you're going to notice such a change in your practice and in your body. Take 2 more breaths in whichever space you're in. If you're in a half split, full split. Good. Slowly begin to come up. If you're in full split, come through half split first. Let's meet here. And then slowly untuck the foot, come back to all fours. Meeting in all fours. Good. We're going to slowly take the hands a little bit, like a couple inches in front. Tuck the toes. Press back, down dog. Here we are. Gotta even ourselves out. All right. So inhale, left leg goes high. Remember here, this is where you want to keep your legs stretched, but open the hips. So let it kind of fall out and back to the side. Really feel the opening in your hip flexors in the front of your belly. Try and keep the shoulders square with the mat. Open, open, open. And exhale, low lunge, left foot to the outside of the left hand. Have blocks and a strap nearby if you want them for this side. And then bring that knee down. Again, take note. We're not back here. Try and shift yourself forward. You can keep the toes tucked or untucked, whatever works for you. And then notice where my knee is next to my shoulder. Again, if you're not capable of that at this moment, that's okay. You can sit back some, but try to make sure you're pressing forward a little at a time to start building that change. Really think of the hips melting down, pelvis melting down. You can stay on palms. You can come to forearms on a block or forearms all the way to your mat. Again, find your level. Breathe through the tension. The straight leg, the right leg that's back, you're going to feel that psoas opener. And then the left knee that's bent, you'll feel through the hips, you're just opening up, getting deeper. If you want to move on and go even further in this pose, this is where you can twist toward the bent left knee, left arms up, kick the right heel to the glute and rest back. Notice I'm not doing this, I'm letting my pelvis melt down and we're opening. That left knee can fall out to the side, so you're on the left knife edge side of your foot if you want. The more you pull that heel in, the deeper you're gonna get in a stretch. When we allow ourselves to melt, the muscles are opening. Two more breaths. Really melt down here. And release, try not to let that foot just slap to the floor, let it down with a purpose. And then come back through center. And this time we're gonna sit ourselves back. Bring your hands to either side of the left leg. Bring that left heel in a little bit so you're nice and centered. Square the hips off, so you're gonna pull the left hip back slightly. Right hip's in alignment. Flex the toes. You can stay here. You could have blocks if you want to come up. If you need a slight bend in the knee, that's completely fine. If you do have a slight bend, start bent and then slowly kind of push the hips back as you pull down. And feel that nice opener in the back of your thighs through the hammies. And then if you want, you can melt all the way down. Find your depth. Pulling that left hip back, right hip forward, really square off. That's going to make such a change. You also feel that on the IT band outside of the left hip down to the knee. As you're here, you can stay, whatever level. If you'd like more, you can work on your full split. Start to shift yourself forward. Again, if you want to keep the back toes tucked to start, you can. If you want more, you can always use blocks or a pillow and just build yourself up here. You could sit here, you can untuck. Excuse me. Flexing the toes back towards you is going to protect your knee and it's going to give you a deeper stretch. And again, if you want to go all the way down, remove the block and start to work on that. You can come forward and rest. Those are all the different levels you can be working through, with your end goal being your full split with a forward fold. Give yourself some nice deep breaths here. These are really intense poses. You can make them as intense as you want, or you can lessen them the amount you want. Just remember to breathe. Are you clenching your jaw or your face? Let go of that tension. Two more deep breaths. Again, notice on this side if you're feeling more tension. Slowly begin to come up if you're in full split. Going through half split first. Excuse me. As you're here, slowly untuck, come back to all fours. Bring your knees wide, hips back to heels. Come to a child's pose, just how we started. Breathe here for 2 minutes. Excuse me. Continue breathing, opening the hips. See if you can get your hips a little deeper in this child's pose than you did at the beginning of class. And then slowly begin to walk your hands back up towards your person. And then bring the knees together and forward. Have a seat on your sit bones. Knees are bent. We're going to find a little cow face pose. So take your left leg, cross it over the right. You can stay here or pull your heels in towards you and feel that nice little stretch on the outside of your hip. Excuse me, I have such a tickle in my throat. Sitting up nice and tall, or you can bend forward, holding onto your tops of your feet. And just allow your torso to rest on your thighs, pulling yourself forward as you try and keep your sit bones down, both of them. If your sit bones are coming up, you're too far. Only go as far until those sit bones start to come up. Good. Pull yourself up. Bring the legs out and switch. Right leg on top of left. Pull the heels in. Sit up nice and tall to start. You can stay here. Grab the tops of your feet. If you want more, keep the sit bones down. Fold forward. Breathing here. Notice where you're feeling tension release. Breathe through that. Slowly begin to come up. Unwind the legs. Bend the knees, feet go flat. From here, sit up nice and tall. And then bring your hands by your sides. Arch the spine, keep your chin to your chest. We're gonna roll down one vertebrae at a time. On for 4. Rolling down for 3. Letting the back of your head be the last thing for 2. Roll down on the 1, hands rest by the sides, knees are bent. The same thing we just did, we're gonna take the left leg and cross it over the right. So you can stay here or pull your knees in and hold either the front of your shins or grab opposite feet. So your right hand's grabbing your left foot, left hand, right foot, and pull the leg, pull your feet towards you. You're gonna feel a nice stretch. Keep the back of your head on your mat. This is one area you can stay in. If you want more, keep a hold of your feet and let the knees fall forward in front of you. If you can't keep a hold of your feet, stay how you were and keep the knees hugged in. If you've got your feet, I want you to think of pressing the top knee on the bottom knee and that all pressing into your mat. Keep your chin and your back of your head down and tucked. Press into that here. You should really feel that. If your left leg is on top of the right, you're gonna really feel it on that iliotibial and hip flexor. Take 2 more breaths. If you're down, bring the knees back in. Release the feet, bring the legs straight up to the sky. And same thing, this time right leg's coming over the left knee. You can keep your feet down, or you can pull them in and you can grab onto your shins. Or take opposite hand to opposite feet. Pull them in toward you. Stay right here. Breathe here to start. If you are feeling like you can move into the next level, take note of how this side feels. You might have a little more space to move. The main thing is you want to still be able to hold the tops of your feet. So go as far as you can until you can't hold on, and then you want your knees to come down to the mat. Press that top knee onto the bottom knee, pressing toward the mat. Back of your head stays on the mat. Really feel that nice stretch. 2 more nice deep breaths. And then slowly begin to bring the knees back up if they're down. Release the feet, unwind, legs straight up to the sky. And then child or happy baby. Grab the bottom of the feet, bend the knees. Keep the back of the head down, tailbones down. If you can't grab the feet, no problem. Grab for the ankles or the backs of the knees and pull down. Try and roll your tailbone flat onto the mat as you're doing this. You can straighten one leg then the other, both at the same time. You can leave the knees bent. You can rock left to right, giving yourself a little low back massage. Do whatever feels good in this space. Listen to your body. We are going to be moving into our final pose of Shavasana. I'll only keep you there for a minute or 2. Of course, you're in your own space, so you'd be welcome to stay as long as you want. Go ahead and release your feet, bring your knees in, hug around your shins or the back of the thighs. Pull your head up, squeeze into a tight little ball, take a breath in. And on your exhale, release out. This is your most important pose of a flexibility block. This is where your muscles are allowed to rejuvenate, relax, and release. Let your feet just fall out to the sides. Your palms are faced up and your fingers are gently curled. Take note of the breath coming in and out of the belly. Just being gentle. There's no pressure anywhere. Let your tongue release from the roof of your mouth or the back of your teeth. I'll bring you back in just a few minutes. Said before, you can stay in this space and continue in your Shavasana. If you're ready to start making some movement in the body, you can roll out the wrists, flex the toes, pointing them back and forward. Massage the back of your head on your mat, left to right. your arms up overhead for one more big good morning stretch. Reaching your hands and your feet in opposite directions. Stretch the body as if you're pulling it apart from the midline. And when you're ready, roll onto your left or right side, whatever is comfortable for you. And begin to push yourself up to a seated position. Eyes are closed, palms together at heart center. Being proud of ourselves for showing up, for sharing energy from all over the world. Being grateful that we have this practice. Bringing your thumbs up to third eye center, a space between the eyebrows, a space of intuition, and a space of open-mindedness. Open-minded with ourselves, open-minded to one another. Bowing forward, namaste.